Hey, it's Jake Gagne. Thanks for watching MotoAmerica on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe. Keep tuning in.
Race number 2, the lights are on. When they go off, we're rolling. Clutches are out, and whoa, what a start from Teague Hobbs in the middle. That looked like the perfectly timed light. But it's going to be Xavi Flores who has the inside line. Look at Mesa going up the inside. Yeah. And for Teague Hobbs, he got hung out to dry, and unfortunately, he's going to slip back. But it is the number 70 of Ty Scott right there in the mix with the 12, Xavi Flores, and the 37 of Mesa.
It's just like yesterday as of right this second, so let's see what happens. Josh Hayes gets himself there. You see him in 4, Teague Hobbs just behind him. Is Mesa going to do the same thing as he did yesterday? Xavi Flores is a little bit more onto it today, Greg, and he didn't let that same thing happen. So it's almost a carbon copy, except for this time yesterday, the 37 was leading up over the hill, but this is where he made the pass late in the race on Flores as they come down into turn 7, and he's going to do it again. So that Kawasaki's really good out of that turn 5 area, up the hill, and Mesa makes that pass stick. Already
our third lead change on the first lap of Supersport race number 2. A much better start for the number 4, Josh Hayes, on that Squid Hunter Yamaha R6.
Yeah, he's just been struggling. I mean, he came in and talked to both of us, hasn't he? And
yeah,
and we know where he's struggling. He's struggling in a couple of the uphill turns, just getting off of them. And this place has about 4 of those. So for Josh, I think if he can kind of stay where he's at right now and kind of run the pace with these guys, the race will come back to him a little bit. Yesterday, he kind of got hung out to dry a little further back. He couldn't make the moves he needed to make, but he's right there with those leaders now.
Into the chicane. Over that new concrete section, we saw somebody run straight through the chicane. Is that Teague Hobbs?
I don't know if it's Teague or Aussie Dave.
Yeah, it could be one of them.
Looked like Dave Anthony, possibly. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Just running straight and losing a position. But here we go. To get a lap in the books, it's going to be Mesa from his standing start. Goes 149.303 over Xavi Flores. So that's Tytler Cycles, Kawasaki. Then, of course, you have that John Deere Commercial, Warhorse HSBK Racing, Ducati of Xavi Flores, who looks like he might be coming under fire. No, Flores attacks.
Wow, what a pass. He came from a long way back. It runs him out a little wide. Doesn't hurt him, though, because in that transition from 3 to 4, it just pushed him over, and then he goes into a cambered turn 4.
And, of course, if you're wondering what Hannah was talking about, the 2-up program is something that happens here when you come to a MotoAmerica race. Jay, what are you seeing?
Ty Scott got a really good run up over the top of that hill. That bike looks stable. Coming up over the top of that very tricky rise. Wide open, 4th gear on these motorcycles as they crest over the top. Bike gets really light. Ty Scott was able to make that pass on Mesa look pretty easily. And his first splits, Greg, were just as quick as the leaders. And you can see he's really closed up on those guys in front of him.
Ty Scott goes right to the front. A good run onto the front straightaway with that GSXR 750. So the Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki rider takes the points. A place where you can really use a lot of your body to control the motorcycle. More at some of the other tracks, some of the flatter tracks that we go to. So Ty Scott had the lead, started to put some distance, and look at Xavi Flores, forces the issue under braking. A good move by the Spaniard to retake the lead with 12.5 laps to go.
Look at how nimble the Ducati looks as it goes through there, and it's a big commitment from the 12 of Xavi Flores to stuff it up underneath the inside there. And you can see him looking all the way through that corner, Greg, and it was just basically, this is where I'm going to do it now. This is where we're going to see Ty Scott again. Probably try to draft back past that Ducati and go by him down the front straightaway, and he does that as well. So Ty Scott really good out of that last corner. Xavi Flores turns it back up underneath him, though, and stuffs him back into turn 1.
You saw him look left as he came by the start-finish line. That was Xavi Flores looking at his pit board to get some information. And now they go 3 wide. And it's going to be Ty Scott who retakes the lead here in Supersport race number 2.
The thing is when you start dropping down into lap times, really like in the low 46s, and you still continue to see +1 on your board, you still have 11 laps to go. So it's a bit of a grind from this point on. And these 2 guys behind are showing that they can run the pace. 46.5, 46.4, and 46.3 for Mesa. So Mesa, again, still looks extremely comfortable sitting back there in 3rd place.
Who's on that John Deere Commercial, Warhorse HSBK Racing, Ducati, Tytler Cycles, Kawasaki, the green and black machine is the 37, as Teague Hobbs looks like he's going up the inside of Hayes.
He definitely looked at it, didn't he? So,
yeah, Hayes fought back.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? It's a cheaper way of going racing for some of these teams, and we've seen other teams like that Disrupt Racing G6R 750 behind these two guys. With Jake Lewis on it, and all these teams as Josh Hayes goes straight to the apex of that last corner to try to get by Teague Hobbs. Let's see if Teague now can do anything with him on the draft. Now, Greg, real quick, while we were talking about that, we saw Xavi Voorhees get into the 45s, 45.9, but Ty Scott has responded this last lap by a 10th second as Teague Hobbs looks like he goes back by Josh Hayes, but no. Josh Hayes is going to hold him off through turn 1 on this lap. White flag comes out. You see him and Xavi Voorhees get that white flag. Mesa back off there in the distance. This guy has just run a perfect race.
Absolutely perfect race. And he's had to race for it. It's not like it's been a runaway. It looks like it now, but also if you're Xavi Voorhees, you've put all the effort into pushing, and what's at risk? It's not worth it. Not that he's handing the race over to Ty Scott, but he knows what's at risk. And part of that is now what is the decision going to be for the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team after this? Jason, like you're saying, to roll around in race number 1 in Supersport at COTA, does that mean we're going to see Xavi Voorhees do double duty and be Josh Herron's teammate in Medallia Superbike?
I'm wondering if he has actually seen COTA.
Yeah, that is a good
because World Superbike's never gone there. I mean, in a crazy way, depending on what the weather's like down there, it could be a benefit for him to be able to run both classes. Because the lap times at COTA are like a lot like RoadAmerica. They're very, very long. And so it could help him a little bit as Ty Scott has a little bit of traffic to get through here before the race is over here.
Ty Scott with a 1.8 second lead. He just went sector number 1, the fastest sector of the race on this final lap. He kind of looks like he's having a ton of fun on the bike.
It does. It's the 98 of Chris Murphy that he just went past on his way down into the chicane here for his final time through. It's a big win for him today, I think. He's got a couple race weekends in a row now where we've seen him win 2 races in a row in Supersport, and gets out of this last corner. Greg, I'll let you bring him home.
So here he comes, Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki's. Tyler Scott onto the front straightaway. To the checkered flag he goes, and he will take victory in Supersport race number 2. Xavi Voorhees safely over the line in second place, and Stefano Mesa in third spot, rounding out our podium. As Teague Hobbs will come across the line ahead of Josh Hayes, who almost fell victim to Jake Lewis, but he will be in 6th place. Front wheel in the air on a huge wheelie for Ty Scott.
They didn't really expect to win the title, but was hoping to win the title, do Superbike the last 2 races. So it's just you know how it is. When a plan doesn't go to plan, it's disappointing.
It is disappointing, and for him, after winning 8 in a row, 4 non-wins is a little bit different for him.
Xavi Voorhees in second, Mesa in third, Teague Hobbs, Josh Hayes, Jake Lewis right there, just 0.2 of a second behind. Mazziato had a good push early on in 7th ahead of David Anthony.